Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2. Today I want to talk about a drum I make. It's like a series I make. I only make one of these a year, and they're I call them my Plunder series. I got one right here. Let's check it out. Get that thing out of the way. Block the light, huh? There we go. This is Honduran Mahogany, and there's a pretty excellent story behind where this wood came from. So first off, this is a 20 stave Honduran Mahogany, all brass hardware, 42 strands snare wire, Evans heads, reverse dot. I love this thing. So this is number 3 of what I call the Plunder series, and I call it Plunder because it reminds me of a pirate's treasure chest, right? Something you would dig out of the sand of some Caribbean island. Anyway, so this Honduran Mahogany was actually, I got it from my cousin, who he was responsible for. Okay, so let's take it back. My cousin had this friend. My cousin's a pilot, and he had a pilot friend that was old, in his 90s. I don't know exactly, but in his mid 90s, when he did end up finally dying. And my cousin was responsible for dealing with his estate and cleaning out his garage. And so in the back of this guy's garage was just a huge stack of this 1-inch thick Honduran mahogany. And the story goes that this mahogany came from crates, shipping crates, back from the 1940s. And some of it I still have that has all the stamps, shipping stamps on the wood. And this was shipped through the Panama Canal back in the 40s, I guess post World War II, so late 40s, early 50s. And it's just cool, that to know that this wood had traveled from one side of the world to the other, shipping who knows what. I don't know what was shipped in these crates, but super thick, an inch thick or more in some cases. And these crates were taken apart, and all the screw holes or nail holes, I guess, they'd be nail holes, are still in the boards, and so the crates were taken apart, and somehow this guy, my cousin's friend, came by all this excellent wood. I don't know. He was going to build furniture with it, and he just never got around to it. It's ended up tucked in the back of his garage, and there was an old car in there buried under newspapers and magazines, and I'm sure there's all kinds of treasure in this guy's garage. But yeah, it was a score to me. I mean, it's nothing I love more than a bunch of free lumber with a giant story behind it. So I got a hold of this lumber and just decided right away, like, this reminds me of a treasure chest. So I went around and started cutting up staves and making a shell, and I'm like, yep, we're gonna beat it up. I hit it with a torch. I rolled it around in the rocks in my driveway. I beat it with chains, and it just the first one I did ended up looking so cool, and I wanted to make sure that I offset that with a nice, uh, crisp brass hardware. I didn't want to beat up the hardware because it kind of gives it a nice balance between the old and the new, which I think just really sets this thing off as like a showpiece. Um, so yeah, this is number 3. I make one of these a year. This one I just showed you was a 2022. I have yet to make a 2023, but this one is a 14 by 7. And I'll probably get on the 2023 here pretty soon. Um, Number 1 lives here. It's at a studio owner here in Black Diamond, Washington. And number 2 is, I want to say it's a 13 by 7. Maybe it's 13 by 6.5. The owner of that lives in Las Vegas, which is pretty sweet. Um, anyway, they're great sounding drums. It just the story behind the wood, the wood being as old as it is a cool factor in the first place, and a little bit of story behind it just never hurts. So this is available at radiusdrums.com, and you can shop all my available drums there. And as soon as the newest one becomes available, that will also be there. And you can get merch not as worn out as this, as I've beat this up over the last couple of years. But hoodies, t-shirts, hats, several things. Go check that out. Radiusdrums.com, and go check out the Instagram. That's at radiusdrums on Instagram and TikTok. Maybe, I don't know if that's worth checking out, but I don't post there very consistently. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. Rock and roll.